Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris, and I'm an indie filmmaker. I make no budget and low budget films. I've made eight features now at this point, and I'm currently in post-production on a 6-part miniseries and another film that is in the distribution process. And I thought that with my experience, I could share some of this information I've learned along the way, and maybe some of it will be useful to you. And the point of this video today is to talk about how to get a distributor for your no budget or low budget film. Now there's some pretty obvious routes you can take first off, and I think the traditional way that a lot of people feel to find a distributor is to take your film to festivals, have the Lord above pick you above everybody else and bequeath you with the distribution deal of a lifetime, making your future dreams all come to be, becoming the next filmmaking god, which if you're able to do that, that's amazing. But I don't think a lot of people are able to do that. And we'll do another video on festivals in particular, but I chose for a lot of my films to go a different route, and that is shopping directly to distributors. And you say, well, how do you find a distributor for one? I think the best way is a website called Sanando, and it requires a membership. I think it's like $60 a quarter, so you have to register as like a business or an LLC. Your film probably has an LLC, so that's what I did. And on this site, you are able to basically find every distributor, and then on the distributor page, usually find the acquisitions person's email address. So now that you find all these distributors, you find all their email addresses, what do you do? Well, with my films, I always prepared a trailer, a poster, a log line, and obviously a screener version of the film. And what I would then do is cold email all of these distributors. And depending on how your trailer is and the poster you have and the movie you have, there's a good chance many of them will reach back out and want to see a screener version of your film. So with my film Transient, I think I sent it to about 50 different distributors, and I had maybe a good 20, 25 reach back out about seeing screeners, and from them, I think I had about 10 to 15 different offers to pick up the film. Now, getting an offer from a distributor is one thing. Getting a good deal with a distributor is another thing, and having a successful distribution of your film is a whole nother thing. So my previous films have all been paranormal documentaries. Say what you will about them, but we had a great deal for a long time with a particular distributor until last year when the distributor was purchased by a very large conglomerate, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and we lost an extreme amount of money from our films in unpaid royalties. And that'll be another video. So now shopping around these movies again and a new feature, narrative feature, I've learned many more things and figured out what is also important questions to ask distributors. So like we're saying, you've reached out to a bunch of different distributors, a bunch of them have given you back offers. What are the traditional offers they'll give you? Probably an 80-20 split, 5 to 10 year terms. Some of them will cover encoding fees, many will not. Some will have marketing budgets built in, which are usually, I tend to not go with those distributors because at this level, I feel like that's just, it seems like a scheme for them to kind of secure the majority of the money the movie's gonna make. And maybe I'm being cynical, but that's been my past experience. So now we had a great deal with 1091 Pictures. They would cover encoding fees. We were getting 4K releases on streaming platforms with premium pricing and preferred placement on platforms. And what does that mean? Well, when you go to Amazon and you look for new releases on your TV or your whatever phone, it would potentially show up in that list as a new release, which means a lot of people are gonna get eyes on it, so it has potential for organic purchasing, organic growth. Almost no marketing is needed because it's already getting in front of all these people just by simply them looking at new releases. Now, as of recently, that doesn't seem as easy to get. And back when we were on 1091 and back like a year or two ago, this seemed pretty normal. Also, we would get release dates for our films. We would know in advance when the movie's going to drop across all platforms. But again, recently, this doesn't seem to be the case. So now when shopping around to different distributors, I ask basically 3 questions. 1, will I get a unified release date across all streaming platforms? 2, will they be able to release 4K with premium pricing for rentals and purchases? And 3, will I get preferred placement? Will I be actually shown on the platforms? Because my last feature, Transient, I didn't ask these questions because naively I thought that this was going to be the case having worked with other distributors in the past. And it turns out not so much. So with my film Transient, it was released across platforms randomly. I never knew when it was going to drop. I was never told. I was waiting and waiting. It would come out on Fandango and then 2 months later hit Amazon. And so marketing it was a nightmare. It was essentially, sprinkling dust into the wind, if that's a saying. Is that a wind? I think it's a Kansas song. I don't know. But extremely frustrating from a filmmaker standpoint. Second, it never got preferred placement. So it dropped on Amazon and you could go on new releases and never find it. It dropped on Vudu. You could go on all the new releases, the new rentals, the new buys. It was never there. You could go on any of these platforms. It was on Apple. It might as well not be on the platforms if it doesn't have preferred placement. The only way you are able to find the film is by searching for it, which essentially means why even bother putting it on the platform? So that's why I stress finding this out ahead of time before signing on with a distributor. I know, looking back at it now, in hindsight, you guys watching this are probably like, well, Chris, you're an idiot. Why didn't you think of any of that in the first place? One, because for a long time, for a few years, the various different distributors I work with, this wasn't even an issue. It was just normal. We gave them 4K ProRes versions of our films, and they appeared as 4K premium releases on the platforms. They would provide us a unified release date, and we were able to find the films on the platforms. So I don't know what the shift was, but it seems like there has been a shift recently. So there's a level, and I'm talking about, just to be clear, I'm talking about movies with no-named actors, very low to no budget films. So my film Transient is out. It's out on all of these platforms and eventually will be out on Tubi. But because of the fact that there's no preferred placement or anything like that, I feel like it's basically not on the platforms. And so going forward with another film we have done, these have been the main questions we've been asking distributors before we sign any agreements. Now distributors in this level seems like they give you the 70-30 split. You have to pay encoding fees. You don't get 4K releasing, you don't get release dates, and you don't get preferred placement. So that seems to be the typical deal that I've been receiving for no budget, low budget films this year. So what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is to just go to Film Hub or Indie Rights or something like that, where they will put your film out. It won't be 4K, it won't have preferred placement, and it won't have a release date. I think there's a version of Film Hub, if you pay them $1,000 or $2,000, they can get you a release date. But Film Hub will take an 80-20 split. So you're getting more of the money, but still getting all the same perks, it seems like, as some of these distributors. Are there distributors out there that offer these things I'm saying? Yes, you have to find them, but just be diligent and ask these questions. So, to wrap it up, do you need to go to a film festival to find a distributor for your film? No, of course not. Just create an EPK, a nice PDF that has information about your film, create a nice trailer, a nice poster, and a screener version, and cold email these people. Set up a Sonando account, and that's really all you need to find a distributor. So that's it, guys. Let me know if you have any thoughts on distributors, recent deals you've been seeing being made for your no budget or low budget films, and how you went about getting your distribution deal for your film. And I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.